Today we uncover the shocking truth about UK yogurt, the ones you're buying in those tubs from Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda, Waitrose and every other supermarket across Britain. And what I've found is going to make you furious. Because while you're standing in that chilled aisle thinking you're making a healthy choice, you're actually being deceived by an industry that's perfected the art of selling you engineered white slop disguised as real food. We're talking about yogurt that isn't even fermented properly. Healthy bacteria that are lifeless by the time you open the pot, protein levels that are mysteriously 60% lower than what they should be. Water, cream and modified starch mixed together in factory vats, a Greek label being slapped on it when there's nothing Greek about it except the branding. Some of these products are thickened with the same stuff they use to make wallpaper paste. Others are loaded with so much sugar to compensate, they've got more in them than your Coca-Cola. And here's the really twisted part. The expensive premium brands from the posh supermarkets are often worse than the budget ones, and the corporations banking on you not knowing the difference for far too long have been getting away with this for decades. But it gets worse, because in late 2024, something happened that shook British dairy to its core. Arla Foods, the massive dairy cooperative that supplies Tesco, Morrisons and Aldi, announced they'd be trialling a feed supplement called Bovaer on 30 UK farms. The idea was to reduce methane from cows, feeding cows whatever they please and then medicating them to stop them burping so much. And they tried to paint it as a noble cause, saving the planet supposedly. But consumers weren't asked. The backlash was immediate. The topic went viral. The trial ended in November 2025. Arla's now reviewing the results, but they've made it clear they're not backing down. And here's what matters for you. Any yogurt made with milk from those 30 farms during that trial period potentially contained milk from Bovaer-fed cows. The Food Standards Agency says it's safe. Meanwhile, Danish farmers are sounding serious alarm bells over what's happening to their cows. And you're stuck in the middle with zero transparency about which products were affected. But there's a way out. Because organic yogurt can't use Bovaer, it's banned under Soil Association standards. And the small British farms, some of which feature in our good list, aren't part of corporate trials. So we've gone through the major yogurt brands currently sold in UK supermarkets and will expose the 11 yogurt products you need to seriously avoid. Then I'll tell you the several which are actually still worth buying. But before we get into that, I need you to do something. If this information is making you angry, if you're realizing you've been lied to, click that hype button right now. Not for us, but for all of us. Because every single time you hit that button, you're telling YouTube's algorithm that this message matters. You're pushing back against a food industry that spent billions convincing you to accept lower standards. You're helping this video reach someone else who's uninformed in that supermarket aisle right now, about to buy engineered rubbish, thinking it's real yogurt. The corporations don't want this to become general knowledge. The supermarkets don't want you sharing this. But when enough of us hype videos like this, when enough of us spread the truth, they can't ignore us anymore. They're forced to change. So hit that hype button. Hit the like button. Make your anger count. Make it push back. And let's get into it. Number 11. Tesco Natural Yogurt. Let's start with the worst offender. The one that made my jaw drop when I read the ingredients. Because Tesco isn't just selling you low-quality yogurt, they're selling you something that shouldn't even be called yogurt at all. Look at the ingredients list. Whole milk yogurt base. Notice that word, base. And when you look at what's in that base, you'll understand why. Milk, sure. But then skimmed milk concentrate, water, whipping cream starter culture, and dried skimmed milk. This isn't yogurt. This is an assembled dairy product. It's built from parts like a car on a factory line. They're taking skimmed milk, drying it to powder, concentrating it, adding water back in, throwing in whipping cream to make it taste less awful, and calling it yogurt. Let's be honest. If somebody made yogurt like that at home, we'd think they've gone insane. Why would they do this? Because it's cheaper. Real yogurt is just milk and bacteria. You heat it, you add cultures, you let it ferment for hours, and you're done. But that takes time. That ties up production space. That requires actual bacteria that are alive and active. Tesco's method is faster. Mix the powders and liquids and cream in the right ratios, add some token bacteria, heat it again to extend shelf life, and boom. Yogurt base. except the bacteria are now dead, the fermentation never really happened, and you're eating reconstituted milk powder with cream stirred in. This is the yogurt equivalent of instant mashed potato flakes. It started as real food once, then got broken down into components, then got reassembled into something that looks like food but isn't quite food anymore. And Tesco's charging you £1.15 for a kilogram of this. Just 15 pence more than another supermarket charges for actual yogurt made from actual milk with actual live cultures. The budget supermarket is selling you the real thing. The massive corporate giant is selling you factory slop. Number 10. Little Mill Boner Greek Style. Now, I'm not going to say all yogurts labelled Greek style are bad. Many of them are still great, as you'll see later. But this yogurt is what I call a cream imposter. It's thick, I'll give it that. Spoon stands up in it. Looks properly Greek. Except thick doesn't always mean good. It's not thick because it's been strained. It's thick because they've dumped cream into it. 12.5 grams of fat per 100 grams. Compare that to a proper Greek yogurt. 5 grams of fat, less than half. Lidl's version has more than double. And here's the con. Real Greek yogurt is thick because you strain off the whey. You start with loads of milk, you ferment it properly for hours, then you strain it through cloth or fine mesh until most of the liquid is gone. What's left is concentrated protein and fat from the milk. It's thick because it's dense, but Lidl can't be bothered with that. Straining takes time, equipment, skill, care. So instead they just add cheap filler cream, mix it into regular yogurt, and hey presto, you've got your thickness. Except you've also got the suspicious 5.1 grams of protein per 100 grams instead of the expected 10. Real Greek yogurt should have around 10 grams of protein per 100 grams because you've actually concentrated the milk. This has half that because half of what's making it thick is just added fat. And Lidl's selling this as Greek-style yogurt, knowing full well that British shoppers associate Greek yogurt with high protein and thick texture. They're giving you the thick texture by cheating with cream, then hoping you don't notice. You're paying for cream when what you wanted was Greek. Number 9. Sainsbury's low-fat natural yogurt. Now we're moving into the budget range deceptions. This is from Sainsbury's Basics line, and like most budget products from major chains, it's engineered to hit a price point rather than a quality standard. The problem with low-fat yogurt is that fat carries flavor. When you remove the fat, you're left with something that tastes like sour water. So manufacturers have two choices. They can let it ferment for a really long time to develop complex flavors that compensate for the missing fat, or they can add stuff. Guess which option is cheaper? Sainsbury's Basics range is all about cost cutting. They add modified starch to replace the texture you lose when you remove fat. They add milk powder to bump up the protein numbers without actually using more milk. They often add sugar or sweeteners to mask the sour flavor. And they definitely aren't fermenting it for the full 24 to 36 hours that traditional yogurt requires. The other problem is that low-fat yogurt has become a health halo product. People see low fat and think healthy, so they buy it even though removing the fat often means adding something worse. Number 8. M&S 0% fat Greek style with honey. And here's where we see the premium supermarkets playing the exact same game, just with fancier packaging. 0% fat Greek style with honey. And the ingredients tell you everything. 13.3 grams of sugar per 100 grams. Honey, brown sugar, and corn flour. They've taken what's basically watery zero-fat yogurt, thickened it with corn flour, which is the same stuff you use to thicken gravy, added honey for sweetness, then added brown sugar on top of that for even more sweetness. And they're charging premium M&S prices for it. This is particularly insulting because M&S positions itself as the quality supermarket. The place where you pay more but you get better, except here you're paying more for corn flour and sugar. You could buy their authentic Greek yogurt, add your own honey at home, and you'd have a better product for less money. The lesson here is that premium branding means nothing if you don't read the ingredients. M&S will happily sell you rubbish if you're willing to pay for it. Number 7. Asda Just Essential Low-Fat Natural Yogurt. Another budget range entry, this time from Asda. And Just Essentials is Asda's rock-bottom tier. The stuff they're selling to people who are genuinely struggling to afford food, which makes this even more cynical. Because when you're selling to people who can't afford anything better, you have a moral obligation not to sell them engineered garbage. But that's exactly what value-range low-fat yogurt usually is. The same problems as Sainsbury's basics: modified starch to fake the texture, possible thickeners like gar gum or locust bean gum, extremely short fermentation times because that costs money and time, and bacteria that might have been alive when they put them in but are definitely dead by the time you open it. Here's the thing about yogurt bacteria. They need food, they feed on lactose in the milk, but if you add modified starch and thickeners and you're not actually fermenting for long, the bacteria don't get established properly. They might be there on day 1, but by week 3 when you buy it from the shelf, they've starved, they're dead. You're eating a dairy product that was once briefly near some bacteria. Asda knows that some shoppers will be forced to gravitate to the absolute cheapest option, so they create a Just Essentials version that's cheaper for them to buy, except what you're buying isn't actually yogurt anymore. Number 6. Onken flavored 0% fat range: vanilla, strawberry, mango, cherry. Now we're into the flavored yogurts. Tempting? Yes. But this is where things get really ugly. Because flavored yogurt is a license to hide all sorts of rubbish, and when corporations get an inch, they seem to always take a mile. Onken makes decent natural yogurt. Their natural set is actually on our good list later. So they know how to make real yogurt, but their flavored 0% fat range is a completely different beast. 0% fat means you've removed the thing that makes yogurt taste good, so now you need to add flavor back. Except if you add real fruit, that costs money. So instead you add fruit flavoring, which is usually just chemicals designed to approximate the taste of fruit. Then you need sweetness because zero-fat yogurt with fake fruit flavor tastes like sadness. So you add sweeteners, aspartame, sucralose, then you need to thicken it because zero-fat yogurt is runny. So you add modified starch or pectin or gelatin, and suddenly your ingredients list contains nothing that resembles real food. The other problem is the zero-fat obsession itself. Fat doesn't make you unhealthy, but we're still living in the shadow of the 1980s low-fat panic, where everyone was told that eating fat would give you heart disease, which turned out to be based on dodgy science. So companies like Onken can sell you zero-fat yogurt loaded with artificial sweeteners and modified starch, and people buy it thinking it's healthy, when really you'd be better off eating full-fat natural yogurt with real fruit mixed in. Number 5. Waitrose Greek-style yogurt with honey. This is the most shocking product on this entire list for sugar content. 17 grams of sugar per 100 grams. Let me put that in perspective. Coca-Cola has 10.6 grams of sugar per 100 grams. This yogurt has more sugar than Coke, not just more, 60% more, and Waitrose calls it Greek style and charge £2.50 for it. The ingredients include brown sugar and maize starch. They've added maize starch to thicken it up so it feels substantial in your mouth despite being a sugar bomb. People buy it thinking they're making a healthy breakfast choice, and Waitrose knows exactly what they're doing. They know that the word Greek has a health halo. They know that honey has a health halo because it's natural. And who knows whether that honey is even the real thing these days. Then they slap on a Waitrose label, charge premium prices, and hope you don't read the numbers. 17 grams of sugar per 100 grams means if you eat the whole 450-gram pot, you're consuming 76.5 grams of sugar. That's more than 2 cans of Coke worth of sugar. From the supermarket that's supposed to be about quality. They'll sell you authentic Greek yogurt made in Greece with proper ingredients. But they'll also sell you this, because they know that most customers will make that reasonable assumption. That surely M&S must have just added honey to the good stuff, right? Wrong. It's an entirely different beast. Honey and sugar are cheap. Maize starch is cheap. Number 4. The Collective flavored range. Cherry and passion fruit. The Collective is one of those brands that tries really hard to seem like a small artisan company. The packaging has that rustic handmade vibe. The name suggests a cooperative of yogurt lovers. They talk about their gourmet yogurt like it's crafted by yogurt elves in a magical dairy kingdom. Except when you look at their flavored range, it's the same con as everyone else. Their natural yogurt is decent. They use real cultures, but the flavored versions are loaded with sugar and thickeners. The cherry one has fruit compote at the bottom, which sounds lovely, until you realize that fruit compote is just fruit cooked down with a ton of sugar. The passion fruit one uses fruit puree and natural flavorings, which could mean anything, because natural flavoring is one of those terms that sounds healthy, but is basically meaningless. You can extract natural flavoring from sawdust, and it's still natural. And both of them use pectin as a gelling agent. The problem with the collective is that they've built a brand around being premium and gourmet, which means they can charge more than Muller or Onken, but the actual product isn't really any different. It's still flavored yogurt with added sugar and thickeners. The collective just has better marketing. And that's what you're paying for: the Instagram-friendly pot design and the story about passionate yogurt makers. Number 3. Tim's Dairy Flavoured Greek Range, Mango and Blackcurrant. Tim's Dairy is a British family-owned company in Cornwall, which should mean they're making proper traditional yogurt. And their natural products are fine, but their flavoured Greek range falls into the exact same trap as everyone else. The Mango one has 15.7 grams of sugar per 100 grams. The blackcurrant has similar levels, and both of them use fruit puree, sugar and thickeners to create the flavour layer. Here's what bugs me about companies like Tim's Dairy. They trade on being a small British producer. They position themselves as an alternative to the big industrial brands. You're supposed to feel good about buying from them because you're supporting a Cornish family business instead of a massive corporation. Except if they're making flavoured yogurt with 15 grams of sugar per 100 grams, they're not actually offering you anything different. They're just smaller. Being British and family-owned doesn't mean the product is any better if the ingredients are the same rubbish as the corporate version. What matters is the ingredients. And if your flavoured Greek yogurt has 15 grams of sugar and fruit puree from concentrate, you're still selling sugar with yogurt on top. Number 2. Sainsbury's lactose-free Greek style. This one makes me particularly angry because it's exploiting people with a genuine medical need. Lactose intolerance is real. It's uncomfortable, it can be painful. And people who are lactose intolerant deserve to have yogurt options. But this product is using lactose-free as a health halo to distract from the fact that it's loaded with junk. 8.6 grams of sugar per serving, 5.4 grams of saturates. And when you're making lactose-free yogurt, you're using the enzyme lactase to break down the lactose before fermentation. That's fine. That's legitimate, but Sainsbury's has then gone and added sugar and used thickeners to create a Greek-style texture instead of actually straining it. So you've got a product that's aimed at people who need lactose-free options, but instead of just giving them clean lactose-free yogurt, they're giving them Greek-style yogurt with added sugar and engineered thickness. It's particularly cynical because people who are lactose intolerant often assume that if a product is specifically made for them, it must be healthy. Similar things happen in the gluten-free industry, and Sainsbury's is counting on that. If you're lactose intolerant and you want yogurt, you're better off finding a brand that makes plain lactose-free natural yogurt and adding your own fruit at home. Don't let them use your dietary requirement as an excuse to sell you rubbish. Number 1. Tesco low-fat natural yogurt. And we're ending where we started, with Tesco. Because if Tesco natural yogurt was an assembled dairy base, this low-fat version is probably even worse. Low-fat yogurt requires more engineering than full-fat because you've removed the fat which carries flavour and creates texture, so you have to replace those things artificially. And Tesco's track record tells us exactly how they'll approach this. They'll use dried milk powder, they'll use thickeners, they'll use stabilizers, they'll ferment it for the absolute minimum time required to legally call it yogurt, and they'll pasteurize it after fermentation, which means any bacteria that survived the brief fermentation will be dead before you buy it. The lesson from both Tesco products on this list is that the UK's biggest supermarket chain is systematically selling artificial yogurt to millions of British shoppers every single week. And they're doing it because they can make it cheaper and sell it for basically the same price as real yogurt and pocket the difference. That's the business model. Engineer it cheaper, sell it for the same, increase the margin. So those are the 11 yogurt products you need to avoid. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're thinking that the whole yogurt aisle is a minefield, I understand. But here's the good news. Finding good yogurt is actually really simple once you know what to look for. The trick is to ignore everything on the front of the pot. Ignore Greek style, ignore the health claims, ignore the brand story, ignore the awards. Just turn the pot around. Good yogurt has 2 ingredients: milk and cultures. That's it. Sometimes it'll say milk and live cultures, or it'll list the specific bacterial strains like Lactobacillus bulgaricus or Streptococcus thermophilus. That's fine. Those are the bacteria that turn milk into yogurt. But if you see anything else, if there's water, if there's cream listed separately from milk, if there's modified starch or thickeners or stabilizers or gelatin or pectin or sugar or honey or fruit puree, put it back. Because it's been engineered. Now, there's one exception to watch out for: Greek-style yogurt. We've been slamming Greek style all through this list, but not all Greek style is bad. Since 2014, UK law says only yogurt made in Greece can be called Greek yogurt. Everything else has to say Greek style. So you'll find yogurts that are actually strained and thick and high protein. They're just made in the UK instead of Greece, so they have to say Greek style. The way you tell the difference is ingredients. If it's just milk and cultures with no thickeners, it's real. It was actually strained. It's just made in Somerset instead of Santorini. If there's water, cream, modified starch, or anything else, it's fake. They're using additives to mimic the thickness instead of straining. So Greek style can be good. You just have to check. And if you want to guarantee you're getting the real thing, there's one more sign to look for. Protein content. Real Greek yogurt has around 10 grams of protein per 100 grams because it's concentrated. Fake Greek style usually has around 4 grams because it's just regular yogurt with thickeners. So if you see Greek style, flip it over, check protein. 10 grams, real. 4 grams, fake. Now let me tell you about the yogurts that are actually worth buying. Well, the very first option, make your own. I know that sounds intimidating, but it's honestly the easiest thing in the world. The hardest part is waiting the 20 to 36 hours before digging in. The long fermentation time is what sets it apart. It's what develops the flavor and allows the bacteria to create all those beneficial compounds. Commercial yogurt is usually fermented for 1 to 2 hours because that's all they have time for, supposedly. Or maybe it's that they knew most of us wouldn't notice. Homemade yogurt fermented for a whole day tastes completely different. It's tangier, it's more complex, and it's loaded with actual live bacteria because you didn't pasteurize it after fermentation. And here's a cool trick. You can use phage as your starter. Phage Total has live active cultures. Scoop a few tablespoons into your warm milk, let it ferment, and you've just made Greek-style yogurt at home. And you can keep going indefinitely. Second, Longley Farm Natural Yogurt. Longley Farm is a Yorkshire dairy that's been making yogurt for decades. They're a small independent company, and they make yogurt the traditional way: whole milk, live cultures, proper fermentation. No messing about. If you can find Longley Farm, buy it, because these are the kind of small British dairies that are getting squeezed out by industrial producers selling cheap engineered yogurt. Third, Lancashire Farm Yogurt. Another small British dairy, this time based in Lancashire. They make natural yogurt and Greek-style yogurt using local milk and proper fermentation. They're the kind of company that started because a farming family wanted to add value to their own milk rather than just selling it to a big processor. These small dairies are what's standing between us and a future where all yogurt comes from 3 massive corporations making engineered slop in factory vats. Fourth, M&S Collection 5% Authentic Greek Yogurt. This is Marks & Spencer proving they actually can sell proper yogurt when they want to. It's made in Greece, it's strained, it's got proper protein levels, and it sits right next to their zero fat with honey nonsense on the shelf, which tells you that M&S is perfectly capable of making real food. They just choose to also make junk, because some customers will buy the junk. But if you're in M&S and you want yogurt, this is the one. The ingredients are Greek-strained yogurt made from milk and cultures. Fifth, Aldi Brookley Authentic Greek Yogurt. And here's where we see the budget supermarkets absolutely schooling the premium ones. Aldi's Authentic Greek is made in Greece. It's got 10 grams of protein per 100 grams. It's real strained yogurt. And it's usually the cheapest Greek yogurt in the shop. Aldi doesn't mess around with Greek style and additives and trying to fake it. They just import actual Greek yogurt from Greece and sell it cheap. This is what happens when a supermarket decides to compete on value rather than trying to engineer cheap imitations. 6th, Iceland Greek-style natural yogurt, £1. This is the cheapest proper yogurt in the UK, and it's surprisingly spotless. The ingredients are yogurt made from milk and bio-live cultures, Streptococcus thermophilus and Lactobacillus bulgaricus. Those are the two classic yogurt bacteria, and that's it. No thickeners, no stabilizers, no water, no cream. Just yogurt, and it's £1 for 450 grams, which works out to £2.22 per kilogram. Compare that to Waitrose charging £2.50 for their flavoured sugar bomb with honey. Iceland is selling you clean yogurt for less than half the price. Give it a go next time. 7th, Waitrose #1 authentic Greek yogurt. So Waitrose can make real yogurt when they feel like it. This one is made in Greece. It's strained. It's proper Greek yogurt with skimmed milk, cream and starter culture. The cream is listed because they're adding it back after straining to get the fat content to the level they want, which is a traditional method. And because it's Waitrose #1, you're paying a premium, but at least the product is as real as it gets. 8th, Waitrose the Estate Dairy Greek-style yogurt. This is a special one because it's made in the UK on a single estate in Cheshire. It's handcrafted in small batches using just fresh whole milk and live lactic cultures. The website specifically says no additives, no thickeners, no stabilizers. And it's not homogenized, which really puts this on another level. This is artisan yogurt made the way it was made 100 years ago on British dairy farms. 9th, Sainsbury's Greek-style natural yogurt. Sainsbury's redeems themselves slightly with this one. It's just yogurt made from cow's milk with a simple fermentation process. 4.2 grams of sugar, which is just the natural lactose from milk. 4 grams of protein, which is a bit low for Greek style but not terrible. The ingredients are clean. No thickeners, no stabilizers. Same story as Sainsbury's. British milk, live cultures with named strains, simple process, clean ingredients. It's not made in Greece, so it can't be called Greek yogurt, but it's actually strained so it's genuinely Greek style rather than fake thickened yogurt. 11th, Yeo Valley Organic Greek Recipe 0% strained natural 450 grams. Yeo Valley is the big organic brand in the UK, and they're making properly strained yogurt from organic milk. The 0% fat version still has decent protein because it's actually strained, not just regular yogurt with thickeners. And here's the big one. Yeo Valley is Bovaer free because they're organic. The Soil Association's standards don't allow Bovaer because the components aren't on their approved list. So if you were worried about the trials and you want to guarantee your yogurt came from cows that weren't fed methane-reducing supplements, buy organic. Yeo Valley confirmed publicly that none of their organic products specifically can contain Bovaer. 12th, Onken Natural Set Yogurt. Onken proves they can make proper yogurt when they're not busy making zero-fat flavored nonsense. Their natural set is whole milk yogurt with live cultures and nothing else. It's set style, which means it's fermented in the pot rather than fermented in a big vat and then poured into pots. The important thing is it's real yogurt without any engineering. 13th, Phage Total 5% Fat Natural Greek Recipe Strained Yogurt. This is a gold standard. Phage is a Greek company. Their yogurt is made in Greece, using traditional methods. It's strained yogurt, which means they start with way more milk than you end up with yogurt. They ferment it properly, then they strain off the liquid whey until what's left is thick and concentrated. The 5% version has 5 grams of fat per 100 grams and 10 grams of protein. That protein level tells you it's real. They didn't achieve that thickness by adding cream or thickeners, they achieved it by removing liquid, and Phage is available in basically every UK supermarket now. It's not some specialty item you have to hunt down. And yes, it's more expensive than Tesco own brand, but you're paying for actual food made using actual traditional methods by a company that's been doing this since 1926. So there you have it, 13 yogurt products that are actually worth buying. And the pattern is obvious, budget supermarkets are often better than premium ones. Small British dairies are making better products than massive corporations. Organic guarantees no Bovaer. And anything made in Greece is probably real. The yogurt industry has spent decades convincing British shoppers that low-fat is healthy, that flavoured yogurt is a sensible breakfast, and that Greek style is close enough to Greek. And in the process, they've normalised selling us water and powder and cream and modified starch and calling it yogurt. But you don't have to accept it. You can skip the flavoured zero-fat nonsense and just buy natural yogurt and add your own fruit at home. Every single time you choose the real thing over the fake thing, you're sending a message. You're telling these companies that you're not stupid. You can read ingredients, you know what yogurt is supposed to be, and you're not paying premium prices for engineered garbage anymore. So hit that hype button one more time. Leave a comment telling me what food we should investigate next. Subscribe to this channel because we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep exposing the lies and showing you the truth. Until next time, read your labels, trust your gut, and protect your plate.